As you can see, Peaches has been arrested. He's going to go with Deputy Murphy. He's going to get processed. One of the things that that the deputies will do on the side of the road is what they call an Elka sensor. This is an Elka sensor. This is the one that I carry in my car. Only a couple of us have these through the sheriff's office. It's not the breathalyzer. It's a standard field sobriety test that we're going to give you on the side of the road. I'm going to have you blow into the tube. It's going to give me a reading of what your BAC is there. Like I said, this is not to be confused with the breathalyzer. It's just a standard field sobriety test. One of the attachments that I have with this is a cone. I can set this up and I can go through this whole crowd in a matter of minutes to see if there's any alcohol on your breath at all. We use that for parties. It'll reset itself, recalibrate itself. There's only 2 of these in the county, and I normally have 1 of them. It's a regular flashlight, as you can see. Right here on the side, I got an air chamber where I take a sample of your breath. Right here, I got a meter that's going to tell me how much alcohol is on your breath. So when that stupid cop pulls you over and pretends he doesn't know what you're talking about, and you ask for your license and registration, most registrations in the glove box. When you lean over to get that, I've got my flashlight in the car talking to you. As you're talking, I'm taking a sample of your breath. You don't even know it. This is one of the tools that I keep in the car every single night. When I talk about night, I said how long the alcohol stays in your system. We've got guys in the sheriff's office that any given morning can go out, hit the roads, start making vehicle stops, and arrest just as many DWIs as they can at nighttime. Because the people think that they just slept 3 or 4 hours and they're going to work, they're all fine. They can handle it. We get just as many DWIs during the morning as we do at night. Think about that. Like I said, the scenario with the guy that's .19. 8 o'clock in the morning, he's .10, still over the legal limit. Think about that person driving the tractor trailer as you're going to school, driving the car, the school bus driver, anybody, the forklift driver at Price Chopper. They're still legally intoxicated. Of course, with this group that I'm talking to, the students, in 1996, New York State adapted the zero tolerance law, which means that you're not going to be arrested for zero tolerance, you're going to be detained for zero tolerance. Any blood alcohol content from .02 or above. So if you're under 21 and you get stopped and your blood alcohol content is .04, you're going to be detained for zero tolerance. Right? Talk about detained, your parents are going to be called, you're going to get all that crap, your iPhone's gone, everything like that. You're going to get a penalty of between $100 and $150, a fine. You're going to pay the DMV surcharges. Of course, New York State's got to get their money, so they're going to add it up, add it up, add it up. You're going to have to get a lawyer. One of the lawyers that we deal with quite a bit, his retainer just to talk to him is $10,000. Just to talk to him. We're not talking a trial, anything like that. So anybody wants to be a lawyer, it's a very good profession. What you can see now is the EMS is going to go through the patients. Some of them are going to be RMA, where they can just sign off, say I'm not going to the hospital. We're a good 15, 20 minutes into the drill. You can see that they've got one roof off, they're still cutting the other roof. They popped a couple doors. Now think about it, again, in the back of your minds, that we're standing on the football field, this scenario. Less than an hour, your classmates, your friends, one's dead, one's going to jail, 3 or 4 of them are going to the hospital. You don't know if they're going to make it. The ones that are going to the hospital, they don't get that option to look over and see their friend there. They're 20, 30, 40 miles away. You don't know how that friend's doing. You've got that unknown in the back of your mind if they're going to make it. You're laying in that hospital with all that stuff on, wondering how many friends are you going to have in the morning. Peaches has to live with killing one of his friends. Anybody else that passes away, whatever jail time Peaches is going to do is minimal compared to what he has to live with for the rest of his life. Where Peaches is going to go now is he'll end up going to the sheriff's office for the breathalyzer test. Breathalyzer test is a big machine that takes an air sample through a chamber. That machine is calibrated once a week by a deputy and is sent down to DCJS every once in a while to get certified. Obviously, if I have you, I can't take that tube, throw it in your mouth, and start pumping on your chest to make you blow into it. But when everybody signed for their license, or when you're going to sign for your license, you're signing for what they call implied consent. That means that whenever a deputy or a law enforcement officer asked you, implied consent means that whenever a law enforcement officer is going to ask you to take a test, you're supposed to. Like I said, obviously I can't make you do it. So what happens is we go through what they call a DMV hearing. The DMV hearing is a hearing with a DMV judge that all I have to prove is that I read you your DWI rights. With those rights, I do not need to prove that you're drunk, you're intoxicated, any of that. Just that I read you a series of warnings. With that DMV hearing, or if you refuse to take that test, that night you're going to be put in front of a judge. Washington County, we call the judge 2, 3, 4, 6 o'clock in the morning. They're going to come out. They're going to set bail on you, normally between $500 to $1,000. If you don't have that in your pocket, you're going to jail. They're going to set up the DWI refusal hearing, normally a month or so, and he's going to take and suspend your license that night. With that DMV hearing, once they suspend your license, we're probably going to go to court. We're probably going to go to a trial. And let me explain what a trial is in Washington County in my eyes. I work 2 to midnight. A trial is normally during the day, so that results in overtime for me. So I don't care if I go to trial or not. It also, you have to go to that court, to that judge and that jury, and explain to them why you didn't take that test. Now think about that in your minds. If I'm sober and that cop comes up to me and says, will you take this test? And I'm sober? Hell yeah, sign me up. I'm going to prove to this idiot that I'm not drunk. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But if you're drunk and you don't take that test, you're already behind the barrel. You've got to go to court and say, I was sober, I didn't take it. Why the heck wouldn't you take it if you were sober? So that's one of the things that you have to remember with that test. One of the law firms that we deal with quite a bit, like I said, they tell you not to take that test. You don't take that test, that's more court appearances. That's more money you're going to be shelling out. Regular DWI is a misdemeanor. You could do up to a year in jail, several $1,000s worth of fines, penalties, lawyer fees, and lots of time. With a scenario like this, you're going to be doing prison time. 2.5, 7 years, 10 years if you're lucky. And again, that's minimal compared to what you're actually going to have to live with killing a friend or actually a human. In New York State, there's a couple components for a DWI. One, you have to be in New York State. The other, you have to be drunk. And then the third, you have to be operating a motorized vehicle. Motorized vehicle is anything that's not under human power. So with that scenario and that being said, do you think that you can get a DWI on a motorized cooler? What do you think? Yeah. It happened in Whitehall. Whitehall PD stopped a guy on a motorized cooler for swerving or whatever he's doing and arrested him for DWI. So not only those charges, we don't see, unless Investigator Hamilton can chip in, we don't see many fatals on a motorized cooler or many personal injury accidents on a cooler. But think about that with the fines, the penalties, all that stuff. That idiot's got to remember that he got a DWI in a motorized cooler. Of course that's going to make the paper. I think it made like CNN or something.